Now, I've never actually noticed this as far as other auto journalists are concerned, but when I review cars, they usually come in batches. It's kind of cyclical in the sense where, I'll drive, I don't know, 5 Honda products in less than 3 months' time, and then same thing will happen with a series of GM products, Subaru, whatnot. And well, for the last 2 months, give or take, it's really been all about Hyundai and Kia vehicles. And well, in a way, it's kind of strange, but I'm beginning to be really tired to say this, and I'm thankfully only very few of you actually watch my videos, so you are not necessarily tired of hearing it, although maybe you are. If you are, that means you've watched more than one of my videos, so I thank you very much for that. But what I'm trying to say about what I say all the time is that Hyundai and Kia products are just, well, there's something about them where the longevity, the quality long term versus what you get initially. There's only a very slim correlation between the two. In other words, these vehicles usually, I don't want to say fall apart or come apart, but they get old real fast. How about that? And it's kind of interesting that my final vehicle for 2022 calendar year, after a series of Hyundai, and Kia products that I will be reviewing, is this freshly facelifted 2023 Hyundai Palisade 3-row midsize SUV. I say that because essentially this is, well, not essentially, this is Hyundai's pinnacle flagship, I'll say it, premium mode of family transportation in North America and other markets too, but let's just concentrate on Canada and the US. And I've said it too many times, and it's worth repeating. I mean, the value proposition, the content, the design, the general, not general attention to detail, to things that you can see, touch, feel, smell, is essentially unmatched. And that's especially true in this specific top of the line 2023 Hyundai Palisade. I mean, there are physically only maybe one or two things wrong with it, and it's really a question of personal tastes. But that, I'll touch on that in just a few seconds. But beyond that, and beyond what may or may not happen in 3 or 4 years from now, it's damn near impossible to beat what Hyundai has put together in this large mid-size 3-row SUV. So in the following video, as per the norm. So I mean, if you've seen one or two of my videos, you might know, if you're new to Motor Illustrated and our YouTube channel, well, what we're going to do next is a long walk around this near 5-meter long SUV, because yes, we are based in Canada. And then we're going to go for a drive and point out a few things about why this thing is exceptional. And I've got nothing else to say as far as that's concerned. So here we go. All right, so let's just jump right into design. As I kind of just mentioned, this is the freshly updated for 2023. It's a mid-cycle refresh of the Hyundai Palisade, which was originally introduced for the 2020 model year. I can't say I disagree with much of what's been done. I mean, I kind of hinted that the front end is a little bit over the top, and I don't know, designers kind of want people to think that, well, either the buyers are getting, or the buyers are showing off that they got something that's Rolls-Royce-like or Bentley-like, but that's just comically over the top, hyper exaggerated grille. It's kind of very silly. I do see some Lexus LX in there, which is not a bad thing, but and the funny thing is that this is a top trim. This is an ultimate calligraphy, and it is the one that has like this dark bronze chrome color business going on there. And based on pictures alone, I'll be honest. This is the least attractive model of the bunch. The preferred, the base model, or even the middle trim, the Urban, if I'm not mistaken, actually looks better than this. But overall, I mean, it looks fine. Let's talk about pricing in the US. The base price for the SE is $35,250, and at the other end of the spectrum is the Calligraphy, which is $49,200. All-wheel drive is an option, so standard is front-wheel drive. In Canada, all our models come with that. Hyundai's all-wheel drive H-Track system, so that explains in part why the preferred, the base model, is $50,498. But look, for that price, 12-inch display, keyless entry start, 20-inch wheels, auto leveling rear suspension, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, heated steering wheel, heated front seats, heated second row seats. I mean, basically, they have absolutely everything you want in your regular SUV, and it's only just over $50,000 before freight preparation and all that other jazz. The Ultimate Calligraphy, this model, is, as I mentioned, $59,298. And honestly, there's no real good reason to get it, because the upgrades are Napa leather, heads-up display, smart parking assist. You probably saw that commercial, smart pack, whatever. The dual sunroofs, and it's got a 12.3-inch digital instrument panel, which is what you get in the Urban, the version just before it, which itself is $55,698. Between the two base models, there's absolutely no reason to spend the extra $4,000 or $9,000 for the Ultimate Calligraphy, because everything else is essentially the same. There are a few other differences, including massaging front seats, but I'll show that to you in a second. So, trunk. Yeah, this is a large, as I said, 5-meter, 3-row SUV. So right now I have it set up in my ideal setup. So that's behind the second row. So yeah, you get captain seats as standard in the Ultimate Calligraphy, which is always a nice feature. But behind the second row, you get almost 1,300 liters of space. And just behind the third row over here, it's about 550 liters of trunk space, which is very good. There is some space-ish under here, depending on whether or not you use the cover or not. A power hatch, lovely stuff. So the crazy thing about when you step into this model with the captain seats is you get, that's right, heated and cooled second row seats, captain seats, so great access to the third row. It's actually quite usable. I did go back there just for a second before I set up the kids' seats. It works out nicely. The seats are reclining and everything, and this lovely stuff. Speaking of lovely, I mean, okay, so maybe in the Ultimate Calligraphy you do get a little bit more visual jazz, but I mean, how really useful is that? The updates also include, say, a new steering wheel and a redesigned portions of the dashboard, but okay, it's pretty. This is nice to look at, but it's nothing special. This, on the other hand, is superb. So here are your seats. So you have a ergo motion massaging seats, power lumbar support. Very lovely Napa leather. Admittedly, it's nice, but do you really want to spend all that money for that? Anyhow, let's slide aboard. Start it up. So there's your, digital IP 12.3 inch, which will change along with the drive mode selector right here. So I think I'm in Eco, yeah. So if I go into Smart and then toggle to Sport, and then if you play, you press the center button and then you get these terrain modes, which I can't imagine most people will ever use. I've been driving almost exclusively in Eco. As you can see, my Calligraphy, Ultimate Calligraphy, has no mileage on it. I think that's 520 kilometers since new. So that fuel average right there is a catastrophe, but that's just because 99% of my driving has been done in the city so far. But not a catastrophe is, I like that the IP instrument panel is actually recessed. I like that as opposed to being blended flat. I mean, it does look premium when it's one piece, but this is still quite nice. The screen is very straightforward, easy to use. I mean, I'm working through my phone. That's not what I want to do. It doesn't matter, but it's actually quite responsive. And what I do love, it's Hyundai and Kia have this wonderful habit of giving you the hard buttons and the screen commands and menus. Speaking of hard buttons, so nice. I love that. What I don't like so much is this. The push button transmission is more annoying than anything else because often it is slow to react. Well, now because I'm not moving, it'll be very quick. But sometimes going from D to R, there's a delay and it won't change gear. It's kind of annoying. But otherwise, the transmission works well. I'll touch on that soon. But fit and finish is very nice. Like I said, I mean, the stuff you can see, the attention to detail, it's quite nice. Oh, and look at the headliner. It's like, I mean, this is what you would want to be wearing, like some velvety, crushed, so soft and nice. Yeah. Otherwise, here you have a new steering wheel. Somebody's upset. A new steering wheel, which kind of encourages bad driving positions, paddle shifters. Visibility is not so great until you really kind of lean forward. You can see the gap between the base of the A-pillar and the mirror cap and the mirror itself. So it's not all that bad. Look, the bottom line on the inside is the fit and finish is just, it's exceptional. It's beautiful. And then I mentioned that the headliner is some soft velvety stuff. Oh, it's so, yeah. So let's go for the driving portion now. I suppose it does free up some of the center console, which gives you very decent and agreeable storage space, by the way. And so, look, from behind, what Hyundai wants its buyers and potential customers to believe is that this is an ultra premium luxury SUV that is, well, essentially equipped like something and rides like something that costs 1.5 times as much money, if not more. And for the most part, I can't disagree. I mean, the ride quality is surprisingly good, but only at lower speeds. So right now I'm gonna hammer it a little bit. There we go. ESP. All right, there we go. Ride quality is really good. Like say up to about 50 or 60 kilometers an hour. The suspension will give you that controlled, floaty driving. That's my tripod, which is moving around in the back. And it's quite nice, to be honest. As speeds pile on a little bit though, like right now I'm doing almost 70, it's still really, really nice. But, and even on the highway, what I'm trying to say is that until you get to some rougher, sharper surface disruptions, the ride quality is really, really nice. I mean, the controlled floatiness is probably something a lot of automakers would like to provide its customers with, especially in something this size and this amount of equipment and all that. See, that was lovely. And we are on 20-inch wheels, as I mentioned, on winter tires. But just the sharp things kind of upset that plushness. Like when there's a sharp dip or something that juts out of the surface, the suspension, the dampers have a hard time kind of dampening that. Steering is fine. There's nothing, it's not connected to the front wheels, but the wheels do things when you tug at the wheels, so that's what you want, obviously. Brakes, same thing. Pedal response is good. Travel is controlled and limited. It's quite nice. And I mean, standard for all, still my tripod. 3.8 liter V6 is quiet. It's almost humble in a way. It's creamy smooth for the most part. It produces 262 pound-feet of torque at 5,200 RPM and 291 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. It's got plenty of get up and go. Now, the fuel consumption thing, right, you could see that I think I was averaging like 19.9 liters per 100 kilometers. So my example here has 520 kilometers on the clock. So it's still kind of, getting used to working, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. That should improve, even though the very vast majority of my driving is being done in the city. Hyundai says that you should be able to average 11.2, but a real world average is probably closer to 13, given the size of the vehicle, the expected use of the vehicle, aka people and gear. Um, but that's not so unusual. Uh, there isn't really anything else to say. I mean, in this segment, Highlander, Toyota Highlander, Nissan Pathfinder, Ford Explorer, Dodge Durango, the Kia Telluride, Mazda CX-9, and a bunch of other ones. I mean, bang for the buck between this and the Telluride. They essentially own the segment. And it's no small wonder why in 2020 and 2021 people were just killing themselves to get their hands on this, because of the perceived, no, the actual value, the perceived quality, the amount of kit that you got with this, and the design. Personally, I'm far more into the design, the Telluride's design, especially the model I drove 6 weeks ago, give or take. But in the segment itself, I do like the Pathfinder, the Highlander with the new 2.4 liter turbo engine. I haven't driven that yet. I suspect it'll be fine. Well, this is what I was saying beforehand. I'm kind of tired, and if you've watched more than one of my videos, maybe two, maybe even more, you know, my saying that, you know, let's talk about where this thing has gone to, how it's evolved and changed, or held up is what I should say. You know, by 2026, the story might be not as good as it is right now, but and the bottom line is that all of these vehicles, except perhaps for that fifth generation Civic up ahead, they're all disposable vehicles. They're all just disposable. And they're not meant to last, although some do. And you know, in your 48-month lease, by month number 39, your dealership will be calling you, wanting to get you into the next SUV to replace it. So does it really matter? I suppose it doesn't anymore in 2023, in a few days from now. So yeah, Volkswagen Atlas, forgot that one too. There are a bunch of others, I think. I should know this. Honda Pilot. Yeah, so it's not a bad choice. It just wouldn't be my choice. But then again, I might I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm gonna shut up. This thing is unbelievable. And but just don't get the ultimate calligraphy. Take a preferred or an urban. Urban is even cooler. That's it. I'm done.